Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q2 FY22 conference call of Lancer Containers Lines Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. From the Lancer's management, we have with us Mr. Abdul Khalik Chatiwala, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Praful Jain, Executive Director, and Mrs. Ranjana Shinde, Chief Financial Officer. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Khalik Chatiwala. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Lancer Container Lines Limited investor earning call organized by Impress Strategic Communications Private Limited. I trust all of you and your dear ones and colleagues are healthy and safe in these challenging times. First and foremost, before starting the discussion, I want to put a disclaimer in place as a part of compliance requirement. This conference call may contain certain forward-looking statements about the company which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not a guarantee of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. Lancer Container Lines Limited will not be in any way responsible for any action taken based on such statements and undertakes no obligation to publicly update these forward-looking statements to reflect subsequent events or circumstances. To begin with, let's run through some of the financial highlights, and to take you through them, I would request my colleague, Mr. Praful, to share brief highlights in the financial performance for the second fiscal quarter of fiscal year 2022. Over to you, Mr. Praful.
Thank you. Welcome you all of you in second quarter earnings call, and it's my pleasure to connect with each one of you. Let me first take you through the consolidated financial highlights for the second quarter of this fiscal 2022. The total consolidated revenue from operations stood at 136.91 crore as compared to 73.23 crore for the corresponding period last year, which is an increase of 87%. EBITDA for the quarter was at 10.53 crores as against 5.76 crores during the corresponding period last year, which is also an increase of 83%. You can see EBITDA margins stood at 7.7% year-on-year. Profit before tax grew by 2.5 times to its highest level since beginning at 7.93 crores. Reported profit after tax stood at 6.01 crore for the quarter, which is an increase of 162% year-on-year. We have substantially reduced our debt taking by debt equity ratio taking to a level of 0.29 level. I would now like to hand over the call back to Mr. Khalik Chatiwala to take you through the key business segment highlights and key updates for the quarter. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Praful. First of all, I'll take you to the journey from the very beginning when Lancer was incorporated in 2011 to emerge as a leading logistic company. We started in 2011 in a very small rented office of about 200 square foot with 2 employees in CBD Belapur, Navi Mumbai. In the first year, we moved to a 2,000 square foot office in the same building, in the same premises which we had purchased with a staff strength of 50 people. Later in 2018, we purchased a 3-story building of more than 20,000 square foot in Belapur itself and headquartered as Lancer House. With our inspiration to add value to our business, we got ourselves listed in the Bombay Stock Exchange in 2016 and migrated to the main board in 2018. In the beginning, Lancer started container trading and then moved to NVOCC services with a fleet of 20 containers. And now your company has around 10,000 containers to service customers globally. To focus on asset-light model, we optimize our revenue growth with a mix of lease and self-owned boxes. We have expanded our base, adding new verticals like freight forwarding, container trading, yard operation, agency network, serving CIS countries, etc. We have formed 5 wholly owned subsidiaries for bringing more operational efficiency to our business. These subsidiaries have started generating profits from the very beginning and added substantial value for taking Lancer to new heights. We have grown as a team from 12 employees to more than 200 now, catering services to 74 ports. Geographically, we have expanded ourselves to 14 offices in India and 1 wholly owned subsidiary in Dubai, which is recently formed, covering 30 plus countries with more than 80 registered global partners. Coming to business updates, during the quarter, we have had a lot of new developments to drive business growth to next level, considering calculated risk we can take to reward business and shareholders. I want to highlight some few of the developments. We have successfully distributed the final dividend of rupees 0.50 per equity share of rupees 10 each to the eligible shareholders, covering and catering to all compliance needs before due date. We have successfully issued bonus equity shares in the proportion of 2:1 to the eligible shareholders on its record date. Lancer Container Lines Limited has successfully increased its authorized capital from 15 crores to 50 crores. Lancer Container Lines Limited has incorporated a wholly owned subsidiary company named Lancer Shipping LLC in Dubai, which should be fully operational by next month. We have hired new talents into the system, taking our total stock strength to more than 200, now from 184 last quarter. Lancer has successfully completed more than 75,000 shipments last year and continue to reach new milestones. Our agency network has grown multi-fold, covering new geographies and regions. We have not availed any moratorium in challenging COVID time, rather brought down our debt substantially in fiscal year 2022, primarily on account of a sharp increase in profitability and improved cash accruals. Being socially responsible, we work closely with the community members to understand their needs and take necessary actions to uplift the society in which we operate. Our CSR activities are mainly focused around education, health, and sport development. Now I'll take you through our short-term and long-term plans. If the pandemic situation eases out globally, we are planning to add 2,500 to 3,000 containers within this financial year. This will be a mix of lease and self-owned containers. We are trying to penetrate to new geographies in more strategic manner, covering regions of Europe by setting up delegate team. We have already disclosed in public domain and are in the process of setting up a branch in United Kingdom to look into the Mediterranean market more aggressively. As a long-term target, company plans to set up a manufacturing unit to produce shipping containers. We are presently working with the consultants on this to look out a feasibility report for proceeding further. We as a group in logistics domain believe that to become strong and getting a larger base, we should also focus on integration to our services in the allied sector. We have long-term plans to set up a cold chain storage service and will positively look to acquire shipping vessels once we can able to double the size of our containers from present numbers. We are in discussion with market participants and our consultants working for us to look out a strategic deal through any merger or acquisition which can benefit the organization to establish a larger base and achieve our goals much faster. In order to finance these capital ventures, the company plans to issue foreign currency convertible bonds up to $100 million in tranches from time to time. We expect for fiscal year 2022, company revenue to grow at 80 to 90% for complete year, mainly on account of robust exports and elevated freight rates. Further, with enormous demand in the market, we believe that EBITDA margins will further improve to 10 to 12% with our strategy to increase advanced slot booking with vessel operator, which give cost benefit to the company. I now request moderator to keep the session open for question and answers if any. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Kishore Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So my first question was, wanted to understand your outlook on freight rates. From here, where are they? Where do you see them going, and why? What is the reason? What is happening currently in the supply-demand dynamics that are keeping because I see rates have fallen a bit from the September peak. So could you speak a little bit about where you see freight rates for the second half?
Mr. Kishore, just to interrupt you, sorry, your voice is echoing. Can you just take the speaker a little far away and then speak out the question, because we are missing out something in between.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so basically, I wanted to understand your outlook on freight rates, and your guide. I understand it's tough to predict, but what are the supply-demand factors that make you think freight rates will be at a certain level for the second half?
Okay, I will answer your question. What I personally feel is your freight rates are going to remain similar for at least, I think, about 2 to 3 years. The reason being, the ship chartering rates, which were $10,000 per day, for example, the freight charter rates have become $30,000 per day. Now you can imagine the ship chartering cost has gone 3 times up. And anyone who's taking this ship on chartering, the minimum duration for the contract is about 3 years now. So if these people are going to take vessels at a higher rate, the freight rates are not going to come down. So we expect that the freight rates are going to remain like this for at least 2 to 3 years. At least for 2 years, we expect that the freight rates are going to remain the same. I hope I've answered your question.
And is the Drewry Index a right gauge to look at freight rates?
I'm sorry, I could not hear you clearly.
Is the Drewry Index a right gauge to look at freight rates?
You could look at it also. That's also one of the ways you could look.
Okay, and what is the reason for raising capital through foreign currency loans rather than equity infusion?
See, basically, foreign currency loans we will be getting at a much cheaper rate of interest than if we take out here to the Indian banks. That is number one. Second is, if you are going for equity, the cost is going to be much higher.
Yeah, I just want to include something out of that. See, we believe in the company. Mr. Chatiwala has formed this company in 2011, and he still believes that there's a lot of potential in the company to reach to a new height on further level. Diluting the equity at our present stage will not justify. So we have our objective, we have our mission and vision very clear. So that's the reason it is much more cheaper in comparison to take out a debt into the market rather than I will dilute the equity of the company.
So the reason I'm asking is because knowing that this is a cyclical industry in terms of rate environment that we've seen from the past, if you raise that much money and then rates turn unfavorable again, then the company will be stuck in a tough position, right? A few years down the line.
See, I would like to.
Historically, rates have fluctuated volatilely.
Sorry, come again. Can you repeat this? What you asked me first?
Historically, rates have fluctuated in a volatile manner.
Yes, I agree with you, but I would like to remind you, during 2018, when the rates had fallen, everything was, you can say, the rates were really low. And during those times also, if you see, Lancer has made quite good profits. And if you see, we moved to office 2018, we moved to another bigger office. So we were, during those times also, we were planning and executing in a way that we were making profits during that time also. So we do not foresee anything because what we are doing is basic. If you see the profit margins out here, maybe they will not be that. Suppose if you're considering that the freight rates would come down and your profitability would come down, I would say to a certain extent, if your freight rates come down, that means your vessel operator will also be charging you less money in that.
Yeah, but there's a general consensus that freight rates have gone elevated because of the COVID situation and port shutdowns.
Yes.
So obviously at some point that is going to correct, right, when things normalize.
See, let me tell you, your freight rates are going to correct if the vessel operators are also going to reduce the ship chartering cost. For example, if a vessel has been taken at $30,000 per day, which was earlier $10,000, and the contract is for 3 years, so no vessel operator is going to lose money. So for 3 years, that is what I personally feel, that the freight rates will not come down.
And I also want to add something over it. See, the freight rate was subdued from very quite long time. If you see before COVID, it was subdued. Now the freight rate has gone up so high. Even if it's correct, it will not be corrected at that space, at that note, right? It will be corrected on a smaller side because it has already been subdued for quite long period. And that's lot of these consultants have the same view which we are portraying right now.
I would like to add something more to it so that it becomes much more simpler. It is simple as that if a vessel operator who has bought a ship, who chartered a ship at a higher rate per day, on a per day basis, he will not sell at a lower rate. He has to at least get some rate out of a profit out of it. If he's taking at $30,000 per day, he will not reduce it to $20,000, otherwise he lose money. And
but then what if there is but then there'll be incremental ships which will be available, right, on a supply level.
Yes, let me tell you.
Supply level, there'll be incremental amount of ships available. So the demand will move away and he'll be forced to drop rates, right?
Okay, let me tell you one thing is, it's in the market, it's in the news that MSC, big liners, I have already ordered for big ships. And these ships also, which were costing, suppose for example, is a small amount, if I would say, it has become double, the prices have also doubled. And let me tell you, the demand and supply, there is a big difference between the demand and supply at the moment. So I do not foresee any rate corrections at the moment, let me tell you this.
Okay, fine. Great. I'll come back in the queue.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may enter *1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Abhi Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for this call. I just wanted to understand a couple of things. So the first question and the answer to your first question has summarized your view on the freight rate. But I want to understand a more basic fundamental. So I believe that the revenue uptake that you have seen in this fiscal is on back of two things, and correct me if I'm wrong. One is on the freight rate, and second is probably the volume that you are operating, right? There would have been certain increase in the volume in the order, etc. So you are giving your guidance on the freight rate and your belief that the freight rate, probably locked for 2-3 years is something that will remain stable. But what is your guidance on the volume or on the amount of business that you are doing? So for example, if in the next fiscal we do see a downturn in the freight rate, then would you have sufficient uptick in the volume that you are operating at to be able to offset the increase in the freight rate? Have you added new geographies? How has this fiscal been different from the last fiscal in terms of the expansion of business in terms of volume? Is what I wanted to understand, number one. And I have another question, but I'll circle back.
Yeah, I will answer your question. See, you have rightly said that which we are giving the outlook for our revenue to increase. But on the similar line, we have also told that we will be covering different regions. Right now, we are basically catered to Middle East, Southeast Asia, North Africa regions, which we are doing very aggressively. We are now planning to enter the European market. We have already told you that we are setting up a branch over there in the United Kingdom. So the coverage will be larger and there's an enormous demand into the market. You can obviously look into the demand-supply gap, which is already there. There's a lot of shipment the exporter is not able to fulfill because of the inadequacy of the system, or there's no availability of the vessel, no availability of the container. So demand is always there into the market. But how you strategically plan it, that is more important. So we are now entering to new markets, taking care of all those markets, and we have a team who develop their pricing, which market can give a better return. So we will work on that model. So it will be a mix of volume as well as getting better realization of our current number.
So can you give any guidance in terms of what has been the last 3 years CAGR in terms of volume for Lancer?
Sorry, come again?
Last 3 or 4 years CAGR, compounded annual growth in terms of volumes. What has been that for Lancer?
You mean to say expansion on the volumes last 3 years?
Yes, sir. On the volumes. Last
year, you can see we have last year we have done more than 75,000 shipments. And I think I checked with my team internally, we have already crossed that milestone. We will be beating that. And with the number of containers we will be adding, we are planning to add 2,500, 3,000 containers. The volume will be much more than this. Okay. So we are keep on growing on the volumes also on year basis, you can see.
So on any guidance on FY22 total number of shipments, what will be the increase over FY21?
It should be more than 1 lakh. Okay. I still have to evaluate, but it should be more than 1 lakh.
Okay. So my second question is on the 100 million FCCB that you are planning to raise for your further expansion. Now Lancer has been a particularly good company in terms of managing its debt to EBITDA exposures and debt to equity exposures, and it has been pretty conservative, which is one of the reasons that it has done phenomenally well in the last 8 years. I want to understand, how will the management ensure that the debt to EBITDA levels, while it takes on its expansion, are reasonable and it is not stressed in terms of liquidity or in terms of servicing of debt? What is the guidance that you want to give in terms of what will be your debt to EBITDA level for the next 3-4 years? Will it be in line with the historic level? Are you trying to track or maintain any, keep any threshold that you will not breach those debt to EBITDA levels? Because that is very important. Given where Lancer is today is because of its conservative nature and is because of its, good business practices. But given that,
So if you can see our history, our EBITDA levels have not been improved. Reason being, there should be a lot of, we have purchased new office, we have set up new branches, and a lot of this expansion plan has gone through. Now, what we have done to improve our margins, because what has happened in this current situation with the COVID, even if the freight rate has increased, the slot charges has also increased on the same level. So what we have done is that we have done an advanced booking looking into the demand scenario in the market. So there's an advanced slot booking which we have already done, and we are making successfully good margins out of that, because that is done on a lower rate where we are getting a higher rate from our customer. So that I will say our guidance is on based on that there should be a lot of improvement on our EBITDA margins going forward, which I consider which should be more than 10%.
Sir, I wanted to also understand that currently the debt that Lancer has had over the last 3-4 years, it has always ensured that there are sufficient operating cash flows to service that debt, right? Your debt has never exceeded 3 times your operating cash flows, if I understand correctly, in the last 2 to 3 years. I want to understand that going forward, when you increase your debt exposure for your expansion, when you take it to about $100 million, which would be roughly 750 crores, would you also ensure that you will, ensure that your debt to EBITDA, debt to operating cash flow, debt to EBITDA levels are well within the limits? I mean, would you ensure that your incremental debt that you take will be, it will not blow out of proportion, it will be contained and it will be conservative, something that you can service? Given your history, you have been conservative in terms of your debt level. Going forward also, since you have taken a blanket approval of 750 crores for investors, for individuals, for all of us, for the shareholders, we want to understand that you will be conservative going forward in taking additional debt, and you will ensure that the debt to EBITDA levels are, well within the limit. That is what I wanted to understand.
See, we have always kept our debt in control. Even once we take a debt, we have our plans ready that we can service our debt in a more efficient manner. That is our first priority, to look into that. Coming into this SCCP, where we have given 100 million approval from the shareholder, this should be in multiple tranches. It should not be in one go. Once we have our one plan executed well and we have surplus money, then we can go for a debt raise. And even when the boxes which we purchase, it should be a mix of lease as well as taking debt from the market. So on a lease side, we can have volume. So suppose if it's 3,000 containers, it should be like that. I will be adding 2,000 containers on lease and rest of the containers over the debt into the market. So we can beautifully manage all the debt portion so that our ratios will not impact much. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Just one more thing, sir. Sir, any time in the future, can you also, with other guidances that you provide, can you also provide guidances on what will be your debt to cash flow or debt to EBITDA level going forward? That will be very helpful.
Thank you. Thanks for that. We will definitely take this into consideration. Yeah.
Yes, please. That would be very helpful for shareholders. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question from the line of Sham, an individual investor. Please go ahead. Mr. Sham, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with your question.
हेलो, मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है?
Yes, you're audible.
हाँ, गुड इवनिंग सर जी.
Yeah, good evening.
हाँ, मुझे एक क्वेश्चन वो है कि थोड़ा आपका एक्सपेंशन प्लान के लिए थोड़ा बताइए ना प्लीज.
हाँ सर, देखिए एक्सपेंशन प्लान ऐसा है हमारा. अभी हमारे पास अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 10,000 कंटेनर्स हमारे पास है. अब हम क्या कर रहे हैं, एक दुबई में हमने सब्सिडरी कंपनी खोल दी है और दुबई से जो कंटेनर जाएंगे हम लोग का यूरोप और एक नया सेक्टर चालू कर रहे हैं मेडिटेरेनियन का. तो ये वहाँ से हमारा वर्टिकल शुरू हो जाएगा. ये जो हम लोग अभी फिलहाल जो कर रहे हैं दुबई के लिए कर रहे हैं और गल्फ कंट्रीज और पारिस के लिए अभी जो लैंसर से हम लोग कर रहे हैं, जो एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, कंटेनर का सर्विस दे रहे हैं, वो यहाँ के लिए दे रहे हैं. अब जब दुबई में होगा तो ये यूरोप और मेडिटेरेनियन के लिए चालू करेंगे हम लोग, उधर एक्स्ट्रा कंटेनर्स डाल के. अब जब कंटेनर्स बढ़ेंगे तो आपके रेवेन्यूज बढ़ जाएंगे सीधा और प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी वैसी बढ़ेगी. क्योंकि आज की तारीख में फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई विल गिव यू, नवा शेवा से 5 मिलियन कंटेनर जाते हैं एक साल के लिए. एक साल में खाली नवा शेवा पोर्ट से 5 मिलियन कंटेनर्स एक्सपोर्ट होते हैं. हमारे पास सिर्फ 10,000 कंटेनर फिलहाल है हमारे पास और 14 ऑफिस है इंडिया के अंदर. तो उसका डिवीजन आएगा, आप देखेंगे तो बहुत ही कम है. तो स्केलेबिलिटी बहुत ही आगे है. अब हमने सोचा है 2-3 फ्रंट पे जाने के लिए. पहली बात तो हम लोग सोच रहे हैं कि कंटेनर्स खरीदने के लिए. सेकंड है हम लोग कंटेनर्स लीज के ऊपर भी बातचीत चल रही है, ये दूसरा टाइप हो गया. तीसरा हम लोग ने FCGB लोन के लिए भी अप्लाई कर दिया. हम लोग ने शेयर होल्डर से परमिशन ले लिए कि हम लोग लोन लेके कंटेनर्स करके और हमारा सीधा वॉल्यूम बढ़ाने के लिए. जैसा मैंने आपको बताया कि स्केलेबिलिटी इतनी ज़्यादा है. जैसा आपको नवा शेवा पूरे साल के अंदर अगर आप देखेंगे तो 5 मिलियन कंटेनर्स एक्सपोर्ट होते हैं. और हम लोग लैंसर कितने एक्सपोर्ट करता है? लैंसर कम से कम 10,000 करता होगा, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 15,000. हमारा जो शेयर है बहुत कम है. अगर हमारे को अभी क्या हमारा शेयर बढ़ाना है तो हम लोग कंटेनर्स लेना है. कंटेनर्स अभी लेंगे हम लोग, लीज पे भी लेंगे और खरीदेंगे भी. दूसरी आगे चलते हुए हमारी ऐसा प्लान है, जैसा मोदी जी अभी बहुत मेक इन इंडिया की बात चल रही है, तो ये कंटेनर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए भी बहुत बेनिफिट दे रहे हैं. बिकॉज चाइना के ऊपर बहुत डिपेंडेंस हो रहा है. तो इंडिया के अंदर कंटेनर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का कोई प्रोसेस है नहीं. तो अभी हम लोग इसी के लिए भी कंसल्टेंट अपॉइंट किए हैं. 2 अभी इसी के पीछे लगे, फीजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट.
तो आप खुद मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करेंगे ऐसा प्लान में है आपका मतलब प्रोजेक्ट?
जी हाँ.
ओके.
तो कंटेनर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट के लिए भी हमने सोचा है कंटेनर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्लांट डालने के लिए.
ओके.
सो दिस इज द एक्सपेंशन प्लान फॉर द मोमेंट. मे बी नेक्स्ट ईयर, ये साल के और नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए कंटेनर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. कंटेनर्स लीज पे लेना है. अभी कंटेनर लीज की बात चालू है हमारी. कंटेनर्स खरीद करना है. तो टर्नओवर सब जो हम लोग सोच रहे हैं अभी क्या है, अभी लैंसर पूरा एस्टैब्लिश हो गया है. अभी जितने भी स्टाफ है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई गिव यू अ स्मॉल एग्जाम्पल, अभी जैसे स्टाफ हमारे पास कम से कम 200 स्टाफ आदमी आज काम कर रहे हैं इंडिया के अंदर हमारे पास। अभी समझो हमारे पास 10,000 कंटेनर है, अगर मैंने 5,000 कंटेनर ऐड किया उसके अंदर, तो उसके लिए मेरे को क्या ऑलरेडी ऑफिस सेटअप सब है मेरे पास, मेरे खर्चे ज़्यादा नहीं होंगे उसमें। एम्प्लॉयज़ मेरे पास ऑलरेडी है, तो एम्प्लॉय समझो 10 आदमी है, मेरे को दो एम्प्लॉय और ऐड करना पड़ेगा। जो रेंटल पे मेरा ऑफिस ऑलरेडी आई एम पेइंग रेंटल, तो मेरा ज़्यादा एक्सपेंसिस ज़्यादा बढ़ेगा नहीं, मेरा एक्सपेंसिस मार्जिनली बढ़ेगा, लेकिन जो मेरा प्रॉफिट और टर्नओवर वो एक्सपोर्शनली ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगा।
ठीक है, तो उस हिसाब से आप कुछ किसी के साथ टाई अप कर रहे हैं या कोलाब्रेशन या ऐसा कुछ भी? और जैसे आपने बोला तो हम लोग गुजरात से है, तो यहाँ पर कंडला पोर्ट है, मुंद्रा पोर्ट है, तो वहाँ पर अभी आपका सब जगह पे एक्सपांशन ऑलरेडी हो चुका है?
सर हमारी ऑफिस है मुंद्रा के अंदर, ऑफिस है लैंसर की ऑफिस है, कम से कम 25 आदमी उधर काम कर रहे हैं मुंद्रा के अंदर।
ओके।
और मुंद्रा से हमारे काफ़ी एक्सपोर्ट होता है, लैंसर का नाम काफ़ी है मुंद्रा पोर्ट के अंदर।
ओके ओके।
और ये जो कंटेनर फैक्ट्री की बात चल रही है, शायद गांधीधाम में कुछ जगह की देखा जा रहा है, और फीजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट देखे जा रही है सर।
ये जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए आप बता रहे हो?
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए, जी हाँ।
अच्छा, ओके ओके ओके, डन। तो आप कोलाब्रेशन या कुछ कर रहे हैं किसी के साथ या टाई अप या ऐसा कुछ?
नहीं सर, अभी तक हम लोग किसी के टाई अप नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम लोग हमारे इसके ऊपर ही जा रहे हैं, फिलहाल हमारे इधर से जा रहे हैं लोग।
अच्छा, मतलब आप अपने हिसाब से खुद देख रहे हैं?
जी हाँ जी हाँ जी हाँ सर।
और आप जैसे कुछ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग या कुछ प्लान आउट कर रहे हैं, तो गवर्नमेंट का इसमें कुछ सपोर्ट रहेगा सब्सिडी के मतलब पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, ऐसा कुछ भी?
जी हाँ सर, एक मैं बता दूं आपको, मोदी गवर्नमेंट जो बहुत सपोर्ट कर रही है इंडस्ट्री को। अभी आपको तो मालूम है काफ़ी इंसेंटिव भी दे रहे हैं, यूनिट लिंक बना रहे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के ऊपर, वो सब निकाले उन्होंने दे रहे। प्लस हम लोग शायद ये भी सोच रहे हैं एक्सपोर्ट के लिए है पूरा यूनिट, तो 100% एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड यूनिट भी बन सकता है इसमें। सब फीजिबिलिटी सब देख रहे हैं, जिसमें बेनिफिट होगा उसी के हिसाब से हम लोग जाएंगे इसके लिए।
एग्रीड, समझ गया। तो मतलब सब्सिडी का आपको कुछ आइडिया है कि अभी आपका मतलब R&D चल रहा है, ऐसा सोच?
सब सब्सिडी में दो मैं बताया आपको। एक सब्सिडी ये होगा, जैसा अगर आप 100% एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड यूनिट खोलेंगे तो आपको जितना भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का माल मंगाएंगे आपको ड्यूटी फ्री मिलेगा।
परफेक्ट।
तो उसके ऊपर ड्यूटी आपको कुछ भी नहीं लगेगा। और ये जितना भी कंटेनर आएंगे मोस्टली 90% 99% सब एक्सपोर्ट से हो जाएंगे। तो जितना भी रॉ मटेरियल आएगा आपको विदाउट GST, विदाउट इम्पोर्ट ड्यूटी, वो हिसाब से आएगा। मशीनरी कितनी भी आएगी विदाउट ड्यूटी आएगी। जो भी हम लोग माल खरीदेंगे फैक्ट्री बनाने के लिए, उस पर भी GST सब रिबेट, जो भी ड्यूटीज है, वी विल बी गेटिंग दोज रिबेट्स आल्सो बैक।
ओके। और ये जो आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का जो अभी सोच रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए अप्रोक्स इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना रहेगा?
सब अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट अगर फैक्ट्री के अंदर अगर देखें, अभी तो हमारी बात चालू है, हम लोग इसका फीजिबिलिटी रिपोर्ट चालू है, लेकिन कम से कम मेरे हिसाब से ये 100 करोड़ रुपये कम से कम मिनिमम जाएगा इसमें।
ओके ओके ओके। तो उसके लिए फंड का अरेंजमेंट आप कैसे करेंगे, मतलब लोन के हिसाब से?
जी आप बॉन्ड के लिए हम लोग अभी जो लास्ट AGM के अंदर हम लोग ने अप्रूवल ले लिया शेयर होल्डर्स का, और उसकी बात चल रही है ये FCGB के लिए।
सॉरी, वापिस बोलिए, क्या बोला?
सब ये FCGB हम लोग लोन जो लेंगे,
हाँ
वो उसी के पैसे में से हम लोग वो उसी में से यूज करेंगे
उसी। अच्छा, ओके ओके ओके, गॉट इट ओके, या थैंक यू, बेस्ट ऑफ लक फॉर योर फ्यूचर।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Utsav, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the call. I just had one question on, congrats on the fantastic result. What is the rationale for incorporating an additional UK thing that you mentioned, subsidiary? And, how will it have a role to play in terms of like the future guidance on revenues for this? And how do you plan to expand to that region? I heard on the call that you are planning to expand to the Mediterranean and you would be servicing it from Dubai. But I just wanted some sense on the UK side of it as well? And additionally, what sectors are we catering to currently? In terms of containers, is there a split between, like, is there different types of containers that we are using, and what are the kind of key sectors that we are, our customer base consists of? Because you mentioned there are about 80 customers that we have, 80 tie-ups that we have. So any light on what sectors they are from would be very helpful. And lastly, just one request: if we can get an earnings transcript also of the full call, that would be very helpful.
Okay. Thank you. I'll answer your questions. Number one is, we've got containers which are 20 foot, 40 foot, open top containers. These are special containers also, open tops. We've got flat racks. These are the containers that we have. That is what we are doing. Number two, as for your question, which areas we are catering is, we are catering with the existing fleet, we are catering to the Gulf countries, total Gulf countries, from Dubai, Bahrain, Saudi, Doha, Qatar, all the Gulf countries. Apart from that, we are going, the upper Gulf is the Malaysia, Haiphong, Vietnam, Indonesia, Aden. We are catering at the moment for all these countries. Now, apart from that, we've got agents. Wherever the container goes from here exported, wherever the containers are being exported, we've got agents out there. These containers go out there with export cargo from India. They go there, it gets de-stuffed from there, and import cargo is being loaded and sent back to India or our agencies. That is the second part. Third part, which you asked about starting Europe and Mediterranean. If you see, it is going to be better for us. Dubai, we started with Lancia so that we can cater from there also, because there's a lot of cargo which is originating from Dubai, which is the hub for Europe and the Mediterranean. So seeing the potential, we have set up this company out there, a subsidiary out there. As regards to the UK company that we are planning to float, it will be a gateway. UK is the gateway for Mediterranean and the European countries. That will be better for us if we start in the UK also, so that we get the mileage from there. So that is the reason we are starting a company in the UK also. So what we will be having is, you will be having revenues from different sources. One is from India, second revenue from Dubai, the third revenue is going to be from the UK. So we are opening doors, you can say, we are opening doors of revenues from each and every part wherever we are going to open the offices. Anything else?
Thank you very much. Yep. One last question. How does our company compete with the likes of the Government Container Corporation? What are the competitive dynamics there?
See, let me tell you, number one, this is a private company which is going to be more aggressive. You must be knowing government companies, how they work. So that's the big difference is that only a government company, how they will be working, whereas a private company will be more aggressive. Second is, a government company, your hands are tied. Whereas a private company, you can just sit across the table, talk to the shareholders, take the details and move forward fast. Like if you see, we've just taken the approval to open Lancia in Dubai. And this company has already been formed. Place has been taken on rent. The office interiors have been done. And most probably on the 1st of December, this is going to be operational. So this is the way we are working. Once we take a decision, we try to implement it, and you will be finding most probably from January, your revenues are going to start from there also. So if you are going to compare with a government company, it's going to be very difficult. Apart from that, Shipping Corporation of India, for example, they've got vessels. And we are people who got the containers. So at times we are using their facilities. Suppose if you want to ship containers to a certain location, we take the rates from them and we give them our container. We are loading on their vessels also at times. So that is what the difference between us and the government company is.
Got it. Thank you very much. And all the best for the next few quarters. And can I just request for the earnings transcript once it's available to be uploaded? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Keshav Garg from CCIPL. Please go ahead.
Sir, wanted to understand that what would be the cost of our the fleet of 10,000 containers, the replacement cost?
You mean to say the brand new containers or the old containers? You're talking the existing containers or what?
Yes, sir, the second-hand containers, which comprises our fleet.
Yeah. So, okay. I will tell you today, the price of containers have gone up that you really know about it. All of you all know that the container prices have gone up. Now, if you see today, a 20-foot container, is costing nothing less than 1,50,000 rupees. Hello? It is 1,50,000 rupees per container. We've got a mix of own containers as well as lease containers. So you can multiply and come to the number what is the asset of your company today.
Okay, sir. And sir, since we all know that these prices are temporary and basically eventually prices will come down of the containers, so does it make sense to sell those containers now and again buy them after the price falls?
No, I would see this question has been put to me many times. If you are going to sell your containers today, you will not be able to do business at all. Suppose if I sell my containers today, I have got a staff strength of about 200 people out here. And we've got an image in the market, the reputation in the market, that people know that we've got so many containers and that we cater to certain locations. If we sell the containers today, that means you are going to go at a loss of revenue. Apart from that, today you are getting freight rates which are much higher. If you do it for another 2 years, the freight levels that you are going to earn are going to go, it will be much more than the cost of the container. The revenue that you are going to earn per container is going to be much more than if you sell it today and just sit waiting for the right time for the prices to correct themselves. It is said, you can never time the market. It's going to be like this.
Okay, sir, understood. Yes, sir. Sir, also wanted to understand that in FY 19, 20 and 21, our operating profit was 21, 22 and 23 crore, even though our revenue jumped significantly during this period by over 50%. So during this period, the freight rates were low. So that's why despite volume growth, our EBITDA was stagnant. So going forward, if again freight rates maybe after 2 years when they fall, so then again we can expect a basically flattish or downtrend in our operating profit?
No, let me tell you, the freight rates are, you can say, when you compare it, there are two things. There is one called the slot rate. Slot rates are being given by the vessel operator. So once your freight rates go down, your freight rates will go down only when your slot rates are going to come down.
So
otherwise, it will not happen. Yeah?
So basically, eventually they will come down. It's a function of demand and supply, and more supply will come in the market.
See, when it is going to come down, your slot rates will also come down. Then only the correction is going to happen.
So basically, why was our EBITDA flat for 3 years? That is my question.
There are three things to that. I just want to give it point-wise. If you compare past years' EBITDA, the margins are lower. Reason being, there are a lot of these things have been done. See, we have a lot of more than 80 agents who work for us. There's an agency agreement which we put into place. So the agreements are, the sharing will be on a larger side, where we have renegotiated all those sharing and had to come to a much lower level. Apart from that, second thing, the slot rate, we have done an advance booking for the slot. So we have already booked the slot at a much better rate in comparison which is there in the current market. So that where we get the good realization on our performance.
And sir, basically this 10 to 12% operating margin that you have guided for, this is only for the current year, or going forward also you hope to maintain these kinds of margins maybe after 2-3 years when the freight and slot rates do come down?
See, we have tried to maintain this margin going forward. It's already been started. If you can see comparison to last quarter with this quarter, the margins have been improved substantially. Going forward, we also see that the margin will be much better. And even if the freight rate comes down, we are charging certain premium over the freight to our existing customers. So realization will be much more better going forward.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepak Mehta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yes, good
Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Sir, my question is around the asset turnover. So right now we have around asset turnover of 2.3, right, sir? So with the new capex, what asset turnover we can expect, sir, in the future?
See, this capex which we are planning, it will be a mix of this lease as well as containers which we own. The turnover ratio, the asset turnover, I think Ranjana will give a better outlook on what will be our turnover ratio guidance on that.
See, our turnover ratio has been increased because of our freight rates and all these things, and we purchased new property and everything, but now all setups are in order. So there is no extra cost for this company. We have to just run the business.
So so ma'am, can we expect that we can achieve asset turnover of 4 in future?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening, sir, and congratulations on good set of numbers. Sir, my question is, you have indicated that you are, for longer term, you will invest in container manufacturing, and the other is to own the shipping vessel. So what is the kind of capital you are looking to, to allocate to these two particular sectors, and what is the kind of ship you would like to own in the medium term?
See, container manufacturing, it's like we have already told that we will be getting funds from FCCB, this bond. And then we have our own plans to set up, taking our consultant into consideration, where maybe we can look into some strategic partnership also, which is not yet decided, but that also a vertical which we can obviously look into that. Coming to your question on vessel, see, owning a vessel is a very long task. That's a long-term target which we have. But before that, we want to add certain number of containers to our kitty. So once these kitty, like suppose I will add double the size of my present number, then I will have a plan to buy a vessel. So that it should be more integration, you can say. We are running our own vessel to a destination, taking our containers, for providing the services to these exporters and importers. But on the plans of what type of capex we require, I think we have to evaluate, and that's the reason we have taken a blind approval of $100 million USD from the shareholder to cater to all those needs.
What is the kind of capital required for buying 2,500 containers?
So a container right now costs somewhere around $3,500, and we have seen in past 1 month the prices are coming down for the containers as well. So we can say that it's like 250,000, 260,000 a container will cost you, a new branded container.
And lastly, sir, what is the tenor of the contract we have on our containers with our customers?
I will like Mr. Chittai to answer that.
The tenure of containers, for example, the containers that we've taken on lease, the tenure is about 5 years, which can be extended. Apart from that, we've got own containers that belong to us. Most of the container fleet at the moment are debt-free. We can say, I think, a very small portion at the moment that the containers that we have are on debt.
So thank you for answering this. So my question is, sir, on the customer side, Do we have 6-month contract, 3-month contract on the customer side with our clients?
No. Let me tell you how we work. We are not stuck to one customer. The market is very big. So what will happen is, if we are stuck to one customer, there are certain things, the disadvantages are there. Number one disadvantage is going to be that we'll have to give him a better freight rate. That means less margins for us. Number two, if we have some select customers, the payment terms are going to be on credit terms, which we are not allowing at the moment. We have never allowed. If you see, our cash flows are all positive cash flows. Whenever the customer is taking the container, shipping the goods, immediately when he comes to take a BL, he's making the payment to us. Similarly, during imports also, the same thing happens. Once the import comes in, he comes, gives our charges, everything. But if we have a customer, like a big customer, you can name any one big customer, they'll ask for credit. We are not giving any credit. That is the reason this company is catches at the moment. Thank you.
Does it mean that all the contracts are spot contracts? Is the right thing to say?
So this contract, generally they are, we work with multiple agents, right? So they might have their direct customers with which they have a direct contact. We have a contact with the agents who get the business for us. These are forwarders.
Understood, sir. And thank you and all the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question from the line of Akshay from Shivam Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Congrats on the amazing results you have posted. I really appreciate the fact that you mentioned in the last point also that the debtors ratio is very less for your company, and that's one thing because of which we are seeing more positive cash flows. I have two questions, sir. One being, when are you going to list on the National Stock Exchange? Because Lancer is quite bigger company now. I've been associated with this company as an investor from last 2.5 years. So I think we need to move to the NSE index from the BSE one also. That would be a good addition. And the second question is, as you mentioned, like basically now we are going to double the number of containers we have at Lancer. Along with that, maybe there is a possibility that we might have a factory. So based on my calculations, at around 30,000 containers and with a factory which gives us about 10 crores in profit, we can basically make 100 crore PAT. So can you give a timeline on when you plan to achieve this milestone of 100 crores in profit after tax? Along with that, about the NSE listing, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, see, coming from the first question for this NSE, there are certain regulatory things which need to be catered to. We are already exploring this thing and in discussion with our compliance team to work on it. And if there's any good news, we should be soon hear that. Coming to the second question, sorry, I forgot what was the second question.
See, basically, I'll tell you is once we have the containers, I think most probably, if you are seeing a past history, that is what we were talking today also in the morning. If you see the past history of Lancer, most of our containers have come during the month of January and February. So if you see, once the containers come in, naturally the revenues are going to increase and the profits are going to increase. That is number one. Number two, once we start the factory also, most probably it will take us at least 1 year or 2 years at least for getting the factory running to its optimum level. So we foresee that the profits are going to be good, and opening subsidiary companies also, all the profits coming in, it is going to be a substantial amount which should come in to the company. I would not like to tell you how much it would be or something like that and the time frame, but I would say the company is going to do really good. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. A follow-up question on that. Like you said that you'll be doubling the container line from container numbers from 10,000. So what is the timeline which you have in mind to double this containers? Like, is it 1 year, 2 years, like a timeline which you have?
See, that is, I think we should be going a bit aggressively this time, because now at the moment Lancer is all set. Offices are set, agency is set, all port registrations are there. We are registered with all the ports in India, all the ICDs. We've got a good network, we've got sales guys, everything is set. So now this is a time that we are going to go a bit aggressive in purchasing of containers. And I think this year it should be, I think, about, we should add about, before March, I think 3,000 containers should be added, and then following it up April to July or September, another, you can say we could add another batch of about 2,000 or 3,000 containers. That is what our plan is at the moment.
Amazing, sir. Really appreciate the way you're working and taking the company forward. Wish to see 1 lakh containers with you soon, as this is a huge market and you're going to definitely cater to it. Thank you. All the best for future, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last question from the line of Puneet, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, I am audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity, sir, and congratulations on a good set of numbers. I have 2 questions, sir. The question number 1, since you have mentioned in one of the presentations that you are going to manufacture the containers also in the coming time, so how do you see the commodity cycle impacting your business at that point of time? Because we are still 6 to 9 months away from starting that business, if I understand it well. And the commodity cycle is going to expand, and our raw material cost could be really high. So what's your take on that? And the second question is, when you're saying to jump into the cold storage business, so what could be the revenue percentage coming from that business in 3 years down the line? So these are my 2 questions.
See, coming to the commodity cycle, which I have watched a lot of time, people say that cycle long lasts for commodities 6 years, 8 years. But in the history, we have seen different things. If you see, like right now, the steel prices are high, but you never know, once there's a lot of raw material coming into the market through China or some other manufacturer, then these prices will go down substantially. So we cannot time the market based on that. We understand our requirement, we understand the market requirement in terms of container. And we understand that even if we buy out raw material at high prices, we can cater to that demand at that realization. So that is our major portray. And we are also studying and doing a feasibility on that, taking into outlook that what is the material required, because there's a specialized raw material which is needed, that is corrugated steel. So what will be the cost and where we can procure that, how should we import that, that is all on a working mode. So right now we are not in a position to discuss that particular scenario on terms of raw material. But of course, in our later call or through mail, we will definitely update our shareholders and the analysts.
So that means we are still 6 to 9 months away at least from starting that, right? Is that the right understanding?
Right, yeah.
Okay. And the second question, sir, on the cold chain storage, so what percentage of revenue you would be targeting in 3 years down the line from that business?
See, around 10 to 12%, which we can expect out of this cold storage.
Okay. So do you see other companies, who would be your peers for that? So have you done any feasibility already, or it is still work in progress?
We are still working with that. We are still working and exploring this.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. These are my 2 questions. Thanks again for giving me the opportunity. And
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sahil Gupta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Sir, I want to know basically on the freight forwarding business, like the business which you have, just on certain clarity, are you into air freight also? Air freight warehousing and like domestic transportation activities as well?
No, currently we are just doing little bit freight forwarding because just we wanted to provide all services under one roof. That's why we are just doing freight forwarding, little bit break bulk and all that. But our main motive is NUCC business. So freight forwarding also we are doing, but not much. We are doing sea freight forwarding, not air freight forwarding right now.
See, adding to Ranjana, I just want to tell you, freight forwarding business is a credit business. We play it very safe on our side in terms of things comes to the credit. Because you never know, if one customer is doing good presently, you never know the second day what can be happen. So it should be, even if we are doing freight forwarding business to a 10%, the credit to the customer is very limited to only 15 days or 30 days. We don't extend it much, and that is also based on the customer to customer. If it is a very large customer, then only we extend it to 30 to 45 days. Otherwise, we don't provide any credit on that. It's better to do less of business rather than to put ourselves into a difficult situation on the credit side.
Sure, sir. But if you see the large MNCs who are
they have
in the
just
market,
sorry, come again.
no, I want to say like Lancer has seen there over the years that they've grown very phenomenally well. But if you see the large MNCs which are there in the market, like you can say Kuehne Nagel, DB Shankers, Expeditors, like if we want to, the target is next 5 years to grow to that level and take the companies to that level. So then the new additions in terms of all gamut of services, you're not thinking of adding it in the later part of the year?
No, we are doing that, but it should be, that's the reason we have set up this container trading, freight forwarding, multiple other verticals, so that we can nurture them out. And these are different subsidiaries which is taking the individual role separately. And going forward, we will be establishing them in a full-fledged manner.
Okay. Sure, sir. And so now since you are like, how many, like the staff, like you're now getting into UK market and opening an office, so it will be a direct office, like your agents, you now don't want to get into agency, like you want to reduce your agents and want to get into direct handling of cargo at like that location. That is how the plan is, according to my understanding?
Yeah, you're correct. That's the later plan on that. Apart from that, we are operating to even in Middle East through agents now, right now. Now, if we have a wholly owned subsidiary, it will be direct through it, and we need not to share any commission over that. So that is one of the things which we can also look.
So on the transportation side, you're not like delivering the containers at the factory or at the basically wherever the containers, like once you custom clear integrate, let's say in Dubai, then you're also adding transportation services to your business?
No, not at the moment. All clearing and transportation services will be provided by the third party. We are out of that side currently. Yeah.
Understood, sir. Understood. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to Mr. Khalid Chadaiwala for closing comments.
Thank you all for your questions, and hopefully we have been able to answer them adequately. I would like to thank you all for participating on today's call. In case you have any further questions, my team and I will be happy to address that through email. Lastly, we assure you to keep our focus on growth with margins and commitment to maximizing shareholders' wealth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of Lancer Container Lines Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.